Hi guys, welcome to my first book club. So we're going to be starting off by looking at the How Not to Diet book. This is definitely a must read for anybody who is interested in weight loss, healthy weight loss, anyone who's interested in plant-based nutrition. And it goes through the problems and consequences of being overweight and obese, and then it looks at the different diets that people promote for weight loss, looks at whether there's any research that backs those claims, whether they're healthy or not, and then it ends with some science-based tips on how you can promote weight loss in a healthy way. So it's a huge book. If you want to get a copy and read it along with me, please do. Or if you want just some of the key findings, then you can follow this series to find out kind of what the key messages are in this book. So I'll be making a series of short videos on different sections in the book. And today I'm going to be looking at the problem section. So why has this become such a pandemic? Why are so many people overweight and obese? He starts this chapter by talking about the difference between exercise, genetics and diet. And he very quickly rules out exercise as being the main problem of people being overweight. He says that the food industry tends to blame inactivity because it wants people to continue eating its food. And he writes, when put to the test using state-of-the-art methods to measure energy in and energy out, it was caloric intake, not physical activity, that predicted weight gain over time. So I think exercise is a very important part of a healthy lifestyle, but he says that people who focus on exercise being the main cause tend to struggle losing weight and tend to gain more. And I think that's because they're focusing on exercise while not focusing on what they're putting into their bodies in terms of food. So I think exercise does help you eat a bit more, and it does keep you fit and healthy, and it might even put you in the right mindset to focus on your diet, but it isn't the main factor that's contributing to people being overweight and people being obese. He then talks about genetics, and he says that today there's about 100 genetic markers that have been linked to obesity, but when you put them all together they account for less than 3% of the difference in body mass index between people. So he very quickly talks about how food and diet is the main cause of obesity and all the different factors that have led to that. And he talks about how we have something called the Thrifty Gene, and it's called the Thrifty Gene concept, and it's the proposal that obesity is a mismatch between the environment and the food that we eat and the way that we've evolved. So this describes us being as designed to eat high calorie foods. So if we were hunter-gatherers and we found some high caloric food, that would lead to our survival. We would eat more and we would be able to sustain ourselves longer until we find our next meal. Our bodies are doing a normal thing. A normal thing to an abnormal kind of situation. And we're evolved to crave food with more calories. So I'm saying it again, and I think this is why I struggle with being addicted to certain foods and overeating, and I think that getting rid of some of these really high calorie in food is why people on fully raw diets find it so easy to lose the weight, to be healthy, to eat a lot of food, but the right kind, not the kind that's driving us to eat more of it. There's an acronym for this type of food that's come from Jeff Novick, and it's called CRAP. So we're eating a lot of crap, and that stands for calorie rich and processed. So we eat a lot of crap and it makes us eat more of it, and that's because our body is designed to want more of that food. So the more that we eat the healthier food, the easier it will be to eat the right amount of food that our body needs, and that will promote a healthy weight loss. But it is important to note that there are differences. So there was a study done where they fed different people the same foods 1,000 extra calories, and they all gained between 9 pounds to 29 pounds. So that's quite a difference. So there's still different factors in our environment that affect how much weight an individual will gain, and a small amount of that will be genetics. Some of that might be exercise, it could be the types of food people have eaten in the past, it could be metabolism. It'll all be these small factors that come together. So we know that it's mainly diet, but why did it suddenly become such a huge problem? This crap food, this highly processed food, they started to mass produce them, ready-made, durable, palatable foods that people could just buy really easily for really cheap. So giving people cheap and easy access to these processed food that are just not good for us has just led people to eat mostly that and even more food than they would normally consume. And it makes me angry reading this because it talks about how government have subsidised it, you know, the corruption with companies being involved in nutrition guidelines, increase in marketing. So they're using more clever techniques to get people to buy and eat more food. We're also in a state, in a more of a distraction kind of state. We've got social media, we're very busy, we've got a lot going on, we're more stressed than usual, and then we're being manipulated, and that's been taken advantage of, selling these foods. He says, so rather we tend to make more automatic, impulsive decisions triggered by unconscious cues or habitual patterns, especially when we're tired, stressed or preoccupied. The unprecedented rise in the power, scope and sophisticated of food marketing started around 1980, and they spend billions of dollars in America on food marketing, so it must have a significant effect. And then there's portions as well, so restaurants and fast food companies were eating larger portions, and it's just all becoming normal. It's more normal to eat this crap food that's damaging our health, that's contributing to this obesity pandemic, than it is to eat fruits and vegetables and whole grains. I'll get more attention and more comments when I go out and eat healthy, because that's now against the norm, isn't it? And the food industry, it knows what it's doing, and it's trying to make its food as tasty and as alluring as possible, as moreish. They want you to overeat. They want people to consume as much of their products as possible, even at the consequence that obesity brings. So the main problem is the food, but identifying that and being mindful of all these factors that kind of affect our consumption, we can do something about it. We are responsible at the end of the day for what we pick up and what we put in our mouth. So having this information and knowing this can be really empowering and can help us make the right choices. And he ends the chapter to say, if part of the problem is cheap, tasty convenience, is the solution hard to find food that's unappealing and expensive? And that's not the case. Or might there be a way to get the best of all worlds, easy, healthy, delicious, satisfying meals that help you lose weight? I wrote this book to find out, and there really is healthier, tasty, good options that you can use, and it just takes time to swap out some of those foods. And we need to just remember when we see these processed foods that are not healthy for us, remember why we choose not to have them, or why we choose to have them very, very rarely, and not suffer from the consequences, which we'll talk about in the next video, of being overweight. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's How Not to Diet by Dr. Gregor if you want to join in the book club. And I hope you're all well, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.